Hi, thank you so much for gracing our episode for today. How are you?
Hey guys, how's it going? I'm doing good, thank you. How are you guys?
Can you we're good as well. Again, super excited to have you here. We know you're so busy, so we appreciate you, taking the time and visiting us here.
Andrew, where are you right now?
I'm in Zurich. We have a few offices at DFINITY, and now I dropped into the studio because this is usually empty unless we're recording something.
Hopefully,
Hence
How's
the
the
light.
weather
you'll
there?
have one in the Philippines.
That would be nice, yes.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be great. Maybe on our the next time you're here, we'll be all together, like in one room and one studio here in the Philippines. That'd be great.
That would be fun for sure. Yeah. Like the
Mhm.
couch sessions where you have these
Oh,
conversations with
yes,
microphones
for
and just sit
sure.
back and
Yeah,
we could do one
agree,
of
So
agree.
those.
professional, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that
Modern
somewhere in the
Holland.
future.
We
Mhm.
we hope to visit also the Definity office in Switzerland.
Actually, if you do, you can
I'll
just
be there.
yeah, you
I
can
can
come by. Yeah, just drop by.
I can fit in a suitcase, so definitely I'll be there. Even if you guys don't formally invite me, I'll be like, surprise, I'm here. So
Sounds good.
Andrew, tell us about yourself. What do you do in Definity? Share your journey, basically.
Yeah, let me walk back a little bit. First, I studied web development, and I was a web developer for a
Mhm.
few years. I did front end first, and then I went into back end, a little bit of both. And then after that, I realized that I would rather do something more heavy. So I studied machine learning and did data science.
Mhm.
Had my master's thesis in astrophysics, predicting
Oh
stars, like
wow.
categorizing stars and supernova.
Mhm.
Funny enough, supernova with using the
Yeah.
wavelength and some machine learning sprinkled on top. But then,
Mhm.
and after finished school, I worked as a data scientist at a few companies for a few years. And I heard about ICP from a friend of mine, and we had this little
Mhm.
group or a little WhatsApp chat where we just shared investments and usually shit posted about things. And he one
Mhm.
day he mentioned ICP, and he said he would invest most of his savings into it. And I was like, yeah, another shitcoin. And I wasn't very interested at the first hearing because there are so many
Mhm.
different projects and so many different not so interesting tokens. But yeah, just to pay respect to the friend, I checked out the ICP and the intercomputer. And after just reading a few hours, I was blown away and absolutely impressed by the technology as well as the potential and the upcoming features. So I I basically took off and like spent weeks on trying to get as much information about it as I can and try to research it as
Be
much
a
as I can.
sponge, yeah. And
Because back
absorb
then we
everything.
didn't have this much info on IC. It was like last June, a month after the mainnet launch, and yeah, we
Mhm.
didn't have the wealth of the community neither the information. Anyway, so yeah, I got in. I think I spent the next half a year just trying to work with the community. I developed a little bit with Motoko, launched an
Mhm.
NFT project, and yeah, did all those kinds of things. And at the end, I applied for DFINITY as a developer relations engineer, and here I am now
Now
talking
you're
to you
here.
guys
Yeah.
from the other side. And yeah, and definitely
Andrew,
it's yeah.
was there a Motoko University that you attended to?
I don't think so. I was hosting a lot of workshops, but I don't think I was at the Motoko University. I think it might have been before my time, like half a month before, something like that.
Okay, okay, okay.
At least we know you're young. Your
Yes,
age wasn't like
I'm
I'm
no,
older
no,
than
I'm
2 years
just
old.
kidding. I'm just
Uh,
kidding. So tell us more about this BTC ICP integration. Uh, what is it and why is it going to be a game changer?
Yeah, let me preface my answer. I'm not a cryptographer nor a protocol engineer, so I don't
Mhm.
know anything, but I start to understand some of it. And I think
Mhm.
this is so far one of the most exciting features that is coming to the internet computer because this will allow canister smart contracts to send, hold, and receive native bitcoins on the internet computer blockchain. So instead
Mhm.
of getting like what happens on ETH and other blockchains is that you get a native bitcoin and then you transfer it to a centralized party, and then that party gives you a wrapped Bitcoin, and then you can just transfer the wrapped Bitcoin around. But with this direct integration between the Bitcoin and the Internet Computer blockchain, the Internet Computer will be able to make native Bitcoin transactions. So why is that important? Because if you have the smart contract functionality of the IC and the speed, you will be able to use Bitcoin in different smart contracts without any wrapping. And that has not been possible anywhere else before. So it's just really, really exciting.
It is. And I've been getting like so many questions, or I've also been reading this on Twitter as well. But for beginners, it could get um, easily like overwhelming and complicated. Like if you were to explain this to someone who's new in crypto, like just the very gist of this, how would you talk about this?
Right. Okay. So the way this works is you have these canisters that are smart contracts running on the intercomputer, which are basically pieces of software that runs in a decentralized system, right? And this, in order to make a Bitcoin transaction, you need a private key and a public key. The public key is your address, basically, but the private key you should never show to anyone. However, if it lives in a canister, then that is available for others to read. So we have to do some kind of trick so that no one can ever see your private key. And the way this works is a fancy name called threshold ECDSA. The ECDSA is just the signature scheme that Bitcoin is using to sign transactions. Am I speaking Chinese? All right, just stay with me. And the canister, instead of holding the private key, it shares this key among different replicas on the protocol level. So what this does is, instead of signing the transaction itself, you would have these shares. Like if you cut up this public key and then you put it in multiple places, and if, let's say, 3 out of the 5 copies agree, then they can sign a message, and then you can make transactions without doing the wrapping. I don't know if this was
such a great explanation. Yeah, it was great.
Okay.
Perfect for people like me.
Yeah, Andrew. Here in the Philippines, we really have a lot of Bitcoin fans. Actually, everybody started in Bitcoin. When I started in Web3 and crypto, what I search on YouTube is not cryptocurrency; it's really Bitcoin. And especially the OG, the original crypto holders in the Philippines. In 2017, we have the Yield Guild games. The owners are entrepreneurs. The owners are really big holders of Bitcoin. And basically, they don't have yet the idea of this potential. I do. We do right here, right now. That's why we're discussing it. But they're afraid, actually, with regards to security. There has been several instances of hacks. I think the most recent one is Harmony One protocol in terms of bridges. Can you tell us more on security, as there's how this integration will be different and secure?
Yep. Again, prefacing, I'm not a cryptographer. However, just on that point, we have an interview with Manu Drivers. We can see here. I interviewed him a few weeks ago, and there is this interview coming up next week or sometime around next week, and he'll explain everything in detail again. But to come back to your question about security, most of these hacks happen because to hack the Bitcoin network is incredibly difficult or almost impossible. But to hack the centralized party that does the bridging, it's a lot simpler. And once you can hack the bridge, then you get access to the Bitcoin. And with the intercomputer integration, you don't have the bridge, or you don't need the bridge, because the intercomputer itself holds the key, the shares of the key, as I explained before. It's also interesting that there's no one place or no one computer that holds the key. The key is shared across many nodes. Like, data computer is composed of subnets, and subnets have nodes or node machines. And these machines together hold the key. So even if you get physical access to one of these machines, you won't have access to the key itself. So this is one of the points. And the other one is you will have something called a CK BTC, or chain key Bitcoin. And it is functionally similar to wrapping. So we will have cheaper transaction fees and it's faster. But the main difference is that you don't have a central centralized exchange or company that holds the private key, but it is a canister smart contract that holds the key, and this is how you can exchange Bitcoin instead of yeah.
I agree with you, Andrew, 100%. Because this is the first time really I've heard we'll be developing the smart contract, the canisters will allow it to leverage on kumbaga, the largest cryptocurrency, which is the Bitcoin, basically enabling you DeFi and decentralized app use cases utilizing this integration.
Exactly, because if you're an OG Bitcoiner, the only thing you can do with your Bitcoin is either hold it or you send it to someone else, but not much.
Or you buy pizza
Or or you buy
and regret. Yeah.
yes. We now know we
Regret
shouldn't
years
buy
later.
pizza. But
Yeah.
actually, if you buy today a pizza, the transaction fees might be more expensive than the pizza itself. So,
Oh yeah, for
Agree.
sure.
so yeah,
It's
now it's a
also
bit
one of the
different.
things that you have to target. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think what's great about stressing the importance of security is that so many people are hesitant about crypto in general because they hear about these scary stories about being hacked or having your portfolio stolen basically. So if we push for like this type of security and then you know I think mass adoption would then follow it. It would be easier for people to trust, to get into, to try crypto as well.
Yes, I agree. For example, Bitcoin, the internet computer hasn't been hacked, and it's been 14 months, and
Yeah.
it never stopped working, and the network never went down.
Mhm. It's
But
impressive.
people now trust the security of Bitcoin because it's been 13 years or something like
Oh
that,
yeah.
and that we haven't
Mhm.
seen many major hacks recently. And the more time
Mhm.
passes, the more people trust the system. So I think the internet computer needs the same thing. Just let time pass,
Mhm.
and we have a
Let
lot
it
of
grow,
security.
yeah.
Let it grow. We have a lot of
Agree.
security
Mhm.
engineers who know what they're doing.
Mhm. So right now it's in beta test, correct? So can you share with us like your timeline of the actual implementation of this?
Yeah, I have to be careful sharing timelines because whatever I say will not be true. Um, and I wouldn't necessarily call it beta. I know like, it is kind of a beta, but how it works
Mhm.
now is it is on the intercomputer mainnet. Now we released all the documentation, and people
Mhm.
can start developing using
Ah, this
the
one.
actual Bitcoin integration.
Mhm.
Da-da-da-da. Yes, exactly. So you can use the API already. And the thing is, whatever you develop now, you can use the testnet Bitcoin. You can mint free Bitcoins on the testnet, and you can use
Oh,
that
okay.
and already write smart contracts. So it works exactly the same as the real Bitcoin. You have to mine the
Mhm.
blocks. You have to wait for 100 confirmations before a transaction is confirmed, and all the rest
Mhm.
of that. And you have to wait for 15 minutes sometimes for the transaction to complete. However, once let's say you develop something using this low-level API that is already out today, you shouldn't have to
Mhm.
change much of anything once the mainnet launches. You just when you deploy your canister, you would change the testnet to mainnet, and that should work as it worked with the Bitcoin testnet. So if you're
Mhm.
interested in developing and using the Bitcoin integration, then you can go ahead and start today.
That's amazing. It's so accessible.
Yeah.
I like earlier you mentioned that there was not a wealth of information available. So I think AMAs such as this and the mediums that you guys are putting out are so important because otherwise we won't be updated in these types of news, right? So thank you. We appreciate you being here, speaking to us directly, and having just these types of resources available to us now.
I think it's very important, and because now our technology it's proven itself. It's very good. It's ahead of
Mhm.
the pack, so to speak. But we have to
Mhm.
be able to explain it to people, and we have to be able to explain to developers why this is so exciting. And now you guys
Mhm.
understand already, but still, it's for all the others who are not on
Yeah.
board yet. Then we have to communicate well first how it works, because a lot of people just don't understand how the internet computer works, and that's my fault, or it's our fault, because we should be better at communicating and be as a
We're getting there.
foundation, be
Yeah.
transparent. Yes, be
Yeah.
transparent on and doing podcasts like this so we can speak to the
Mhm.
community.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I think that's where it starts too.
yep, I agree.
Mhm.
And then, Andrew, I think basically you mentioned the point there that is really critical. And then me, as the community, ICP Manila has really been working together with other communities as well. And very critical is, yes, we do have this feature, we do have this technical capability right now. But the question is, how do we put the word out? Actually, that's what you mentioned. And
Mhm.
I think the question here is, I'm not sure if you would have an idea, basically, or you have a general idea on it. How does Definity plan to market or promote this feature? It's very critical that everyone would know, especially the OG Bitcoin holders, developers, and builders. And would you have an idea on the plan in the coming months or years, basically, so that builders from other chain can come in as well?
Yes, I'm not sure how much I can share, how much is public, but we do have a plan. We do have a plan, and a lot of things in work. So, for example, the things that I can definitely share is we have the interview coming up with Manu, who explains how the integration
Mhm.
works and why is it important. Also, we
I'll
have
be there. I'll be there.
awesome. Yeah, please watch it. It'll be on our YouTube channel. Make sure you have like notifications turned on.
Yeah.
And yes, we created a 2 Bitcoin integration tutorials. So if you follow those, you can just download one of our example dApps and you can start playing with it already. And then the Islam explains exactly how one of our engineers explains how to mine Bitcoin blocks on a test net, how to create transactions using the internet computers, canisters, and so on. And besides that, we want to get as many developers on board as possible because before the community gets on board, you need to have developers creating cool stuff. Because once we have
Mhm.
taxes, one of the most intrinsic feature is being able to just buy ICP with Bitcoin, not having to go through a centralized exchange. So if you have already Bitcoin, you can just swap to ICP once the integration is implemented in DEXs. So that's very exciting. And
Again, a very good feature.
yes, for sure, for sure.
I agree.
Look for
Thank you, Andrew.
hackathons and things like that. So,
Mhm. And I think I just want to highlight how important visibility is as well, because it's different when while mediums and videos are very very helpful and highly appreciated, it's still um, having conversations with you directly, like for our audience, they get to ask you questions. We'll ask in a while. It's still a very it's a better experience, I would say, for everybody when.
Yes,
Um,
that's correct, Mother Mulan. And I think community on each country is really very important as well, because we have to build the trust and speak in the native language. Di ba, yung Tagalog natin, Filipino, we can,
Mhm.
di ba? May explain natin
Yeah,
in our
we
language
have to translate.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but it appears you guys speak very good English. So I think most of what I say is will your community will understand, no problem.
Thank you.
Yes.
We practiced just for you. Like we spent, yeah, we
Yeah.
spent the whole week just, oh, I have to practice
We're
for this
still
test.
intimidated with
You shouldn't be. I mean, I'm not native, same as you are.
We're all struggling here, basically. No,
Exactly.
I'm
We,
kidding.
we
But
all
it's
have to learn
it's
English.
again, it's so nice that we get to talk about these and
Andrew, on a personal note, what's your nationality again? I, I
Hungarian.
haven't.
I'm
Oh,
Hungarian.
Hungarian.
Yeah.
oh,
Okay,
that's
okay.
cool. So we're very diverse here.
We're very
Um,
diverse.
Now, are you ready for questions from our viewers?
Shoot.
Awesome. So I think it's good to start with this one. This one is from Kent 042. What assurances beside being here can you share with us that this is a safe investment, i.e. audits, lock liquidity, etc.?
That is a very good question, actually. I
Yeah.
mean, we shouldn't
Mhm.
give assurances, and this is what Manu talked about as well. Is it's one thing because the Foundation developing this Bitcoin integration, we had multiple audits, we reviewed our code, and now for the next couple of months, So we plan to release mainnet next few months ish. So maybe October, November, December. I don't want to say anything so very concrete. But in these months, we are doing testing and more security audits and more optimization. But whoever uses the Bitcoin integration API in their smart contracts, in their canisters or dApps, they'll have to do the same. They will also have to do a lot of research and audits on their part, because no matter how secure our API is, if you have a bug in your canister, then it's also a security risk. So whenever you as an investor or an interested person looks at a dApp that uses Bitcoin integration, make sure that that team did their proper due diligence on using this integration well, so that it's secure. Because that's, we can't make sure that every dApp that uses the integration is 100% secure.
That's a good point.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much, Ken, for sending that. And if you have more questions for Andrew, you can keep on sending them. The next one is from Kurisu_IC. Is a testnet integration API only available in Web3? Can it also run in Web2?
I mean, it runs in the internet computer, which is a Web3 platform. So yes, it uses the Bitcoin testnet and it uses the internet computer mainnet. And internet computer is, as you guys I'm sure know, it's the first and only true Web3 platform, having it completely decentralized. Yeah.
Another one
agreed,
from
Andrew.
Kent.
Wow.
Here's another
Thank
one
you, Ken.
from Ken. Yeah, very active. Thank you so much. Impermanent loss, risk of illiquidity loss, or theft of funds are some common problems of staking. How stable and secure is your project system to avoid or minimize these risks?
I think this will have to do with specific decentralized exchanges running on the internet computer themselves. So you can have one decentralized exchange that is illiquid, and one that is very liquid, and that also depends on the funding that they received, or the backing and community pools that have been flowing into it. So this, I don't think, can be really answered by the foundation themselves, but it's very specific to each dApp or each exchange. I know it's not a satisfying answer, but you have to look at the dApp specifically.
That's how it is, yeah. But at least we recognize the question, yeah.
I agree on that, Andrew. It cannot be on the ecosystem only, but also on the decentralized app that is running on it.
And maybe it's a bit better once we release the SNS or any other DAO solution, then the DEX or the decentralized exchange itself will be in the hands of the users. So you'll have this tokenized app, and then they govern the whole system. And I think that'll add a layer of security, because the users themselves wouldn't vote for rug pulls, right?
Yeah. The SNS Modern Mulan will be one of our topic in our upcoming shows, because that is again a very critical highlight for ICP.
It deserves its own episode.
Yeah.
Wait a few weeks and maybe I can be on that one as well.
Actually.
Oh, that'd be great. We're basically just gonna find reasons to keep having you here, because we love talking to you. Yeah, here's another one from Kurisu. What is the main innovation of ICP for Bitcoin integration, and why are other projects not able to do it?
That is a good question.
I think it's better like, why is ICP the most suitable one to do it?
So the magicians or cryptographers built something called the chain key cryptography.
The magicians.
And yeah, that is something that completely beyond my head. But a lot of the features of the internet computer uses this chain key cryptography, and that allows, for example, having different subnets communicating with each other and using the internet identity. It is a way, and actually, by the way, the main building block of the Bitcoin integration is this threshold ECDSA that using chain key cryptography creates a share, or creates a splice or shares, different shares of the same private key, and you only need a certain threshold of these key parts or key shares in order to sign a message. And that works very well on the internet computer due to chain key cryptography. And I think something like this hasn't been developed on other chains. But this is also the chain key is the basis for the speed and low transactions that we can offer. I'm not sure if this answer was satisfactory. I hope it was.
It was, and I think it's also like a good summary of the competitive advantage. And again, answering our first question, like, why is this a game changer? So I think it was a satisfying answer.
And if you're interested, please read on chain key cryptography. It is really interesting. It's just hard to wrap your head around. But of course, it shouldn't be easy because it took many years for many people to develop.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I think people should be nervous if it's that easy, right? So yeah, I think all of the articles that you mentioned and other information will update the description box so you guys can also do your own research after watching this video. And if you have more questions from Andy, you can keep sending them in, and I think we'll have you back again. But for now, thank you so much,
Hi,
Andrew, for sharing
Awesome.
your time and
hi, Modern
expertise.
Mulan.
Thanks a
Hi,
lot.
Modern
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mulan and Andrew. I have one follow-up question actually.
Oh,
Yes,
This
go
is
ahead.
more of
please.
a general outlook and your personal opinion. And
Mhm.
actually, I'm going to be asking this on all our guests moving forward. Can you give us your personal opinion on how ICP ecosystem or landscape will look like in the next bull run, maybe in 2024, 2025,
Oh, that's a great
and how
one.
this type of yeah, how this type of features like the BTC ICP integration will basically help the ecosystem.
Yeah, maybe it's cliche to say, but I think we are in the very early stages of development of
Mhm.
dApps on the IC ecosystem. So the community has been growing very healthy. Now we saw the first meme coin, as I heard you guys mention a couple of times, the ghost token, and so the community size has been growing rapidly, same as with the developers. I think it's both are on an exponential trajectory to see more and more
Mhm.
developers. And what I mean to say is that these dApps that we have currently running are in their early stages. And if you look back at, let's say, if it's 2024, 2025, and look back at how District or Discover used to work, or ICP Swap, they will be miles from where they are now. And all this development, because creating these dApps takes years and not months. And we've only had
Mhm.
1 year. So the mass adoption can only come once these dApps really perform well and have and are not just competitors to other Web3 platforms and other blockchains, but also competitors to Web2 platforms like Facebook or Instagram. Because
Mhm.
once it's as convenient to use an intercomputer version of Instagram as it is to use the real one, people will come here because we are not stealing your
I
data to
agree.
begin with, and
Mhm.
we are yeah.
Yeah. Mhm. Basically, just uh, providing solutions to the current problems that we are seeing and
Yeah,
are experiencing right now. Yeah, and I think that's
that's a
what
great
really
answer.
that's what makes ICP stand out from the rest. So Andrew, again, thank you so much. We appreciate it, and we hope to have you back again
Thank you
because we
very much.
still have so many questions that we want to talk about. Maybe we can have someone else from DFINITY as well, so we
Look
can
around.
answer specifically to more questions. So
Awesome.
thank you very much. We
Thank
appreciate
you
it,
very much.
and see
Thanks
you
a lot
again
for the
soon.
invitation.
Thank
Thank
you,
you. Bye.
Andrew. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you,
Maraming
Andrew.
salamat.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Yes, maraming salamat. See you soon here in the Philippines, hopefully. Or we're gonna
Yes.
go there to you.
You're welcome to anytime.
Thank you, Andrew. Have a great night.
Cheers.